Hey YouTube. Wow. Just as I said hey YouTube, LJ wakes up. Okay. One sec. Alright, so I'm back. Had to quickly change him and now I'm feeding him. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I'm feeding him and I just covered just in case you can see. If you don't know, the camera that I have, I can't see if I can see myself. I'm just kind of judging by the lens. So yeah, anyway. So a video is long overdue. I gave birth exactly 2 weeks ago at 39 weeks and how many days was I? It was Thursday. So Thursday. So I was 39 weeks and 3 days. I was just a couple of days away from hitting 40 weeks. Anyway, this is my labor story. Okay, so if you're not subscribed to my vlogging channel, I have a video up of my actual labor and delivery. It doesn't show everything, like it just shows a bit of me laboring and then a bit of me pushing, and then it shows when I first get to hold LJ when he comes out. I had a 17-hour labor, and I had it all natural, and I had a water birth. Yeah, so let's start from the beginning. Where do I start? Okay, so it's about... Actually, I'll go back to my midwife appointment, which was 2 days before I went into labor. My midwife did a sweep. I think it really worked because I went into labor 2 days later. I went into labor, it was about... When I looked at my phone, it was about 4:30ish in the morning. A contraction woke me up, and I was just like, oh, maybe it's a practice contraction. And then it just kept coming. Like I had another one, and then I had another one, and then I started timing them, but they were inconsistent. Like I'd have one like 10 minutes later, then I'd have one like 5 minutes later, then 20 minutes later. It was really inconsistent, but the pain was like, I was just like, this feels like it's real. So I woke up my husband. He keeps going on about the way I woke him up, like, because I was just starting to like have a contraction when I was trying to wake him up. I was like, babe. And then like in the middle of contraction, I was still trying to wake him up. So I'm like smacking his face type of thing. Like I wasn't slapping him, but like, you know, trying to wake him up. That was funny. And I'm just laying there like, trying to, you know, breathe through the contraction. Anyway. He gets up and I told him that I think I'm going into labor, and I told him just rest up, but like I just needed him to know that I think I was in labor. Anyway, I don't remember how long I laid in bed for, but I was in a lot of pain. I think I needed to use the bathroom, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I used the bathroom, and I was laboring in there while I was using the bathroom. I was doing number 2. I know that's like TMI, but like, you know, this is what happened during my labor. And then I went into the shower, and the contractions started picking up from there. I was like, they were like seconds apart. Like it was like 30 seconds apart to 30 seconds to a minute apart. And they were lasting for like a good 30 to 40 seconds. I was just standing in there. I don't know how long I was in the shower for, but I was standing there like having contraction after contraction after contraction. I was just like, no, I'm not ready for this. So yeah, I eventually got out of the shower. We actually called up the hospital. Yeah, I think that was the first call, or was it? Yeah, I think that was the first phone call. Called up the hospital and told them that I'm having contractions. They were asking me questions, and I was still uncertain about my contractions because they were still like, it would be like 30 seconds apart, and then like I would have like a 5-minute break and then contractions would start again. It was like, where did the contractions go? And I was so scared that it was like false labor. I was just like, no, this has to be real. Like, I want it to be now. So yeah, we called up the hospital and they were like, if you think like this is actual labor, then come in and we'll check you out. If it's not, we'll send you home. If it is, then we'll keep you. And I was just like, I don't want to go through the pain of like, you know, going into hospital and not knowing and like being sent back home. So I was just like, I'll wait it out. Okay, so this was roughly probably around like 8 o'clock in the morning. So it had been 4 hours. I had been having contractions. They were inconsistent, very inconsistent. Anyway, when we got into the car, I was shivering. I was so cold. I don't even know how, but yeah. My cousin was the one driving, and because my husband doesn't drive yet. We got to the hospital. We went in and the midwife checked me, and I was 6 centimeters dilated. I was so relieved to hear I was 6 centimeters dilated. I was like, I was much further along than I thought I would be, because like the contractions were so inconsistent that I was just like kind of like doubtful whether they'd let me stay there. So 6 centimeters, obviously they wouldn't send me home, so. But baby's head was like still pretty high up, so she was like, just stay up, try to sit up and, you know, walk around if you can. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try. But I immediately got on that gas, and so it was probably like after 2-ish or something, I'm not sure. Around that time, we were at the hospital. And yeah, I was pretty much just on the birthing ball. I was on that, and I was standing up and walking around. That's what I was doing up until probably about 7 o'clock, I think it was, around between 6 and 7. Then I really, like, I felt the contractions even more. I was really high off the gas, by the way, like to the point of like blackout. So that really helped. What else? Then, yeah, so about 6 to 7, I was feeling the contractions even more so. And that's when I was like, I want to get in the tub. So I got in the tub, and I still had the gas in there. I don't know how long, this is like, I really don't know how long I was in the tub for, but it got to a point where I just did not want to have a natural birth. I seriously wanted drugs at this point. I was just like, I want drugs. And so I was just like, call the nurse. I didn't tell them why I wanted them to call the nurse, the midwife. And as soon as she walked in, I was like, I want drugs. Drugs, give me drugs. And she was just like, okay, I'll just check you. And when I got into the tub, I was from 7 to 9 centimeters, like she wasn't sure. My water hadn't broken yet. So by the time I called her back in, I don't know how far along I was with dilation, but I was in a lot of pain, and it got to the point where I was crying, and I was just like, please, like, just do whatever, you know, like that's how painful it was towards the end. And it was pretty obvious, like, you know, we were nearing pushing, because, like, you know, I was in so much pain. And then I started getting the urges to push, and I slightly started pushing. And honestly, like, this part, like, pushing was just so involuntary. I was involuntarily pushing out LJ. my body was just contracting and forcing me to push, and I was not ready. I was just like, in my head, I was just like, no, I don't want to push him out. Like, that hurts. It really hurt. Like, I could feel him going lower and lower and just like right there ready to come out, and I was just like, no. Like, in my head, but my body was just like, yeah, you're gonna push this baby out like right now. So yeah, my body did its thing pretty much, and it was pretty painful. Like, it was such a different experience from my first labor and delivery, to be honest. Like, it was so different. Pushing was really involuntary. I was involuntary. I wasn't pushing. Like, it wasn't actually me pushing. It was like my body just kind of like taking over, and I was just like, okay, then. I had no choice but to push, and yeah, you can see it in the video of LJ. I'll put the link down below of the labor and delivery. But yeah, I pushed, and he finally came out, and it was just crazy. But I was in so much pain even afterwards. Like, pushing out the placenta was painful. I was still in loads of pain. Like, I remember my first you know, when I first pushed out Felisa, it wasn't, I felt relieved after I gave birth. Here, when I pushed out LJ, I didn't feel relieved. I felt like I was still laboring. Like, I was just in pain. Not as much pain as when I was like, about to push him out, but I was still in a lot of pain. And you can see it in the video. It sounds like I'm crying, but I'm not. I'm just like, I'm in pain. So yeah, I had a 2nd-degree tear. So I have stitches this time round, and I'm pretty sure it's because, my body did the pushing. And the first time round, I had complete control. I was pushing. It was all me pushing. But when it came to LJ, it wasn't like, seriously, my body just took over and pushed him out for me. So yeah, yeah, that's my Alright, so my laptop died. Not my laptop. My camera died. So that is it for my labor and delivery story. Yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget the link to my labor and delivery video or vlog is below. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye.